I'm the leader of the whole life healing movement. I am your nurse health coach. And just to emphasize that whole life healing is built on science, soul, and strategy. And the goal is for us, you and me, to heal ourselves first using the whole life healing framework and then role model healing to our community and those we serve. I'm really excited today because we're going to talk about relationships. Why relationships? Well, in the whole life healing framework, there is an assessment wheel, which I give away for free. You don't even have to give your email address. It's at www.karlacauldwell.com. If you already have a way to assess your health and well being, it's not necessary to use this one. But if you don't, I highly encourage you to check it out. And in the whole life healing assessment wheel, there's 8 areas. These 8 areas that comprise our complete health and well-being. They're all important for us to prevent the bulk of dis-ease and for us to live our healthiest, best life. And one of those areas is relationships, which we're going to focus on today. Before we start, though, it's important to talk about what matters most. This is always foundational, and I will always ask you this question. So I just want to remind you that you are at the center of your health. And at the center of your health is knowing what matters most to you. It's important to reflect on this. This is our North Star for prioritizing, for healing. It's so important. It is everything. So if you can take a moment to just think about what is it that matters most to you? What do you value most? What gets you up in the morning? What keeps you motivated? I'm asking you this question because as we start to assess our relationships and the health of our relationships, and as we start to identify things that we can do to improve this area of our life, I am going to invite you to connect it to what matters most to you. You are more likely to follow through and improve on any aspect of your health and well being when you mentally connect how this will benefit what matters most to you. This is why I'm always talking about this. So, we're going to focus on relationships today. And what do I mean by that? Because that can be really broad. So, what I want you to consider is your interactions and relationships with the people in your life. This can include your neighbors. It can include the people that live with you, your family, your chosen family, your friends, your colleagues. On a whole, we're going to be looking at the health of our relationships. I want to share 2 ways to assess. One is if you only have a few minutes, and then I also want to share how you might assess and do better in this area if you have a little more time to do a deep dive, which I highly recommend that you do a deep dive at minimum once a year on your relationships. Okay. So we're going to start with collecting data from the most important place of all, you. I'm going to ask you to think about your relationships. And again, we're thinking about all of our interactions and relationships with the people in our life. And I'm going to ask you to rate the well being of your relationships on a scale of 1 to 8. 1 being They're the worst. They're the worst I've ever experienced. They're terrible, all the way to 8. They're the best. There's no room for improvement. Everything is fantastic. So take a moment to rate yourself. I'm going to do it in real time because I never ask you to do something that I don't do for myself. And I just want to remind you that these methods that I name and I invite you to do are backed by science. Okay, so I'm rating myself. I'm going to say I'm a 5.5 right now. Pretty good, but there's room for improvement. I also want to take a moment to share that when you're rating yourself, it's good not to overthink this. This is fluid. Things go up and down, and it's like vital signs. Right now, this is what your number is. If we were to check a few weeks from now, a month from now, it could be different. Okay. So don't overthink it. Just rate yourself. Now we're going to do the quick method. So this is maybe a practice if I want to show you the assessment wheel so you know what it looks like. Okay, let me share it real quick. Hold on. Oh, it's so beautiful. All right. So remember that you can get this for free at www.karlacauldwell.com. And if you already have an assessment wheel you use, no worries, use that one. But you see that you are at the center, what matters most, and relationships is on the right hand side. And when you have the assessment wheel, you can rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 8. You draw a dot. And if you were to assess all the areas, you could connect the dots. I actually do this assessment wheel once a month. And I have it in my planner. I every year I publish a Live Your Best Life planner, and I have this once a month. Rate myself on relationships, and I think of an intervention. Okay, so I just wanted you to see this real quick. I'm going to stop sharing. I just wanted you to have a visual. I love visuals. Okay, so we're going to do the quick version of the assessment and creating an intervention. This is what I would do once a month. Or let's say I notice my relationships are just not good and I want to do something quick. I want to intervene quickly. So, what you rated yourself, and then you're going to ask yourself, what is one small, realistic action I can take to improve this area by 1? Notice I did not say to be perfect. I said by 1 because we want an action item that is realistic. When we help our brain by coaching ourselves using a small number like improving by 1. So I'm a 5.5 right now, and I'm going to ask myself, what can I do to get to a 6.5? It helps to orient my brain to think of something realistic that I can do now, not some like perfect world scenarios that I could get to an 8, which might not be realistic and can be defeating because confidence is the strongest predictor of success. So we want to pick something that we feel confident we can accomplish. Okay, so you're going to ask yourself, what is that one small thing? Right away for me, what comes up is schedule time with the people that matter to me. Schedule time. Now, I'm going to ask you, whatever your intervention is, to make it SMART. So specific, measurable, action-oriented, realistic, and time sensitive. So when I say I really need to schedule time with the people that matter most to me. That is not a complete SMART statement. It's not specific. It's not time bound, and it's still in the idea category. So when we do things like that, like when we say, well, I could do this, or I need to call these people, we're in the idea stage. And we're more likely to follow through if we get to the action stage. So, how we get to action is by setting a SMART goal: specific, measurable, action oriented, realistic, and time sensitive. So, I'm going to take my idea of I need to schedule more time with people that matter to me to I will schedule I really wanna see face to face. So I will schedule a face to face with someone I care about within the next 7 days. That's very different. It's very specific, and I have 7 days to complete the action item. I know that I wanna see the, person that matters most to me, face to face. It's very different than, "I need to see people I like." I hope that makes sense. Give me a thumbs up if it makes sense. And then, um, and then we move forward. Okay. I know this is a recording, but I'm trusting and seeing you give me a thumbs up. And you can always ask me questions if it doesn't make sense. All right. So that's the easy route, right? I am going to set an action item. I'm going to improve this area. Great. Short. Now, let's do a deep dive. How would you do a deep dive of improving your relationships? This is a little more in depth. This is if you have time. I really love doing this once a year. For me, I like to do it before the new year where I go through each area and I do a deep dive. And it's just a valuable experience. You can also choose to do a deep dive if you're just not doing well in this area. Let's say this area is just you are like I'm going to say a 2 or a 3, and you're feeling really bad about this area of your life. You can choose to do a deep dive. So, what does that look like? What that looks like is that you're going to spend time looking at the rhythms of your relationships. By rhythms, I mean habits. What's happening in this area? So, first, you're going to ask yourself, who are the people that are contributing to my well being? You're going to make a note of who are the people that are contributing to my well being. Who are the people that are not contributing to my well being? Knowledge is power, and sometimes we don't do better because we're not taking the time to understand what's happening. So, this is very helpful. Sometimes we just keep interacting with people over and over without realizing that they're not having a great effect on our health. And what you want to ask after you assess this list is, how can I spend more time with the people who feed my soul and spirit and who contribute to my well being? And how can I minimize my time with the people who don't? I understand that in many situations, you can't eliminate some of these interactions. Maybe it's a neighbor, maybe it's a family member or a colleague that does not contribute to your well being, but you can be mindful and intentional about minimizing. Another good question to ask is, what boundaries can I set to lessen the effect this person is having on me if they're not affecting you in a positive way? You have power. And this whole exercise is about empowering yourself. So, how can I spend more time and maximize with the people who are improving my well-being, and how can I minimize with those who are not helping my well-being? Okay. Now, we are going to we're going to scan our day to day and we're going to look at those rhythms and habits of interactions that feed our spirit. So for me, when I did this the last time, I noticed that when I go to the dog park at a certain time, it's usually like in the early evening, I run into some of my favorite neighbors. And I really enjoy that time. I really love it. I love interacting with their dogs. I like interacting with them. It's a very positive experience. And what I noticed is that I was really only doing that once a week or less. And so that's a habit that I wanna do more of. That's a rhythm that I want more of in my life because it's positive. I also noticed on the other side, of the equation, so something not as happy, I noticed that in the morning, I have this habit of, um I walk a certain direction because I want to get certain things from my workday, and there's this person that I see, and they just are never happy. They're not happy. Anytime I interact with them, I I hear lots of, uh anyways, I leave that interaction like this. So when I noticed that, I thought, okay, well, why not change the time, right? I don't have to walk that way each time. I could walk a different direction. I could go at a different time. What I'm trying to say is that we can be intentional when it comes to our relationships and our interactions with the people in our life. We can choose to maximize the positive ones and do our best to minimize or at least protect ourselves for the ones that aren't as positive. I hope this makes sense. If you have any questions, please ask me about this. So you're going to scan your work days, you're going to scan your home days, and you're just going to be on the lookout for which rhythms, which interactions are improving your well being, and which ones are not supporting your well being. And again, for the ones that are supporting, how can I do more of that? Even if it's a minute more or once more per week, this has a positive effect. On the other side, we're going to look at how can I minimize? Like, what can I adjust so I lessen the burden of this interaction? Relationships is so important to our health and well being. They have the power to boost our immune system. Positive interactions have the power to release feel good hormones. They also have the power to release hormones that are not helpful, like stress hormones. They Relationships have the power to lower our blood pressure. They also have the power to increase our blood pressure. So it's really, really important that you address this area. Again, I fully understand that you cannot, there are some people we work with or some people in our life that we can't just eliminate them. And so we still can empower ourselves. If there's someone we have to interact with and we notice our heart rate goes up, our blood pressure goes up, our stress goes up, then what you want to start to do is set yourself up for success and notice, when do I interact with this person and what will I do to safeguard myself? So If you are a praying person, you could say a prayer before, or you could take a few deep breaths. After the interaction, you can also do some deep breathing or do something that makes you feel good. Interact with someone that counters that effect, or go outside if nature's helpful, or move your body. You can empower and equip yourself to do better in this area of your life. All right. So now you have the short version where you can ask yourself, where am I at on a scale of 1 to 8? And what's one small thing I can do to move up by one? And then you make it smart. And then you can do a deep dive. So this is when you have more time. You can look at all of your relationships and make 2 columns. Who are the people that benefit my well-being and which are the ones that detract? And how can I spend more time with these people? And how can I minimize the effects this group is having? Also looking at your rhythms. When I say rhythms, I also mean habits. So, how can I maximize habits or rhythms that benefit my well being? And how can I minimize and protect with the interactions and habits that hurt my health? All right, I want to share my screen one last time because I want to show you something. When you work on relationships, look at this. Relationships is next to stress management, nutrition. When we work on relationships, it improves our nutrition. When we're less stressed and we're happier, we're more likely to eat better. We are also, it can affect our movement. Sometimes some of our relationships involve movement, or we have more energy for movement. They contribute to personal growth. We're more likely to have better finances when our relationships are good. We're able to rest easier, sleep better. It supports stress management and spirituality. So, what I love is that when we work on one area, it benefits the rest. I also want to remind you that you are at the center of your health, and so is what matters most to you. So, whatever it is that you do to improve your relationships, I highly, highly encourage you not only to make it a SMART goal, specific, measurable, action oriented, realistic, and time sensitive, but also connect it to how will this benefit what matters most to me. If what matters most to me, for example, is my family, and I improve my relationships, then the way that benefits my family is they don't have to hear about my strife. I'll have better stories to share with them. I'll have more energy. I will sleep better and do better and be able to contribute more to my family. I really hope this was helpful. At any time, you can ask me any questions. You can get the assessment wheel at karlacauldwell.com. And I am rooting for your success times 1,000. Please remember that when you focus on your health and well being, not only does your health and well being improve, but you role model healing to everyone around you and to those you serve. Have a great day, and I'm rooting for your success times 1,000. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye.